Welcome back to the Ref Show, part 2 with Carlton Palmer and with Glenn Turner. Just to top and tail the championship before we move on, I did note, for quite a number of reasons, Sheffield United won, Brentford 0. Congratulations to Chris Wilder and the Blades, and Billy Sharp hit the ground running following their promotion. But so did Steve Martin, the referee. Clean sheet, no yellows, no nothing. Now, that may well reflect very well on the players, but also that's a dream start for a referee, isn't it?
Reflect well on the referee as well. There's nothing, honestly, as a match official, there's nothing we like better than going into town and walking back out with an empty book. Trust me, we don't go looking for problems.
And this is where Chris Wilder's ultra competitive, wants his players to be, hey, first, and yet nothing, no yellow. That's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it is, for the opening day of the season, and a great result for Sheffield. I said from the start of the season I fancy them for the playoffs. I do. I think they've got momentum, and what he does now. Chris Wilder's learnt his trade at the bottom. Yeah. He knows how to win football matches, and let me tell you, I know people say the Championship is a tough league to get out of. It is because of the volume of the games. But if you've got a strong, resilient squad, if you look at Sean Dyche, he's shown the blueprint of what's needed. If you've got that, you've got a chance, and I think Sheffield United have got a chance. I think there'll be playoffs or better, I think.
Conversely, your old team, Sheffield Wednesday, lost very disappointingly at Preston. I forgot to mention that was a penalty that decided that game. I looked at it a few times. I thought it was a penalty.
Absolutely. Problem with that.
No? Okay. Let's look at, just to record the fact that a bit of a bombshell on the eve of the season, 2 referees have been taken off the list. David Coote of Select Group 2, very, very promising young official, remains under investigation for, an undisclosed situation, whatever's going on there. And another referee, Darren Deadman, may not referee again as a result of these investigations. We can't comment on what's involved in these, but it's a sad situation.
What a shame. And if either or both of the boys are guilty of anything, then they've just thrown away promising careers. What a terrible loss.
Indeed. Well, David Coote had earned a lot of good comments on this show, so we'll await on that, but it's certainly a sad start. Diving panel. Okay, so there's going to be, every time a player cons a referee successfully, i.e. wins a penalty and is seen to be diving, panel will sit, panel of 3, an ex-player, ex-manager, ex-official. And Carlton, you first, among the pool that will be selected from, Danny Murphy, Lee Dixon, Trevor Sinclair, Terry Butcher.
Well, Terry will not pull no punches. No, but I think Black, I mean, with all due respect, black is black and white's white, right? Now, I know in this day and age you have to be careful because people can sue you, people can do all these things, but at the end of the day, if a player tries to con the referee, tries to get another player sent off, tries to win a game because of it, is blatant cheating and should be outed as a cheat. Everybody was walking on eggshells with the Joey Barton situation, right? He tried to get a fellow professional sent off and tried to influence a referee's decision, which is, the job's hard enough without having something like that. He should be, straight out now, he's a cheat. Simple as that. You don't have to, in some cases, you've got some clever footballers who manipulate the ball and then stick their leg across the player so it's very hard to prove sometimes, because some of these players can, especially the foreign players, can manipulate the ball very, very quickly. And then when they get in the box, they stick the leg across the defender.
There was one at Wembley in the Community Shield final where there was a yellow card.
Yeah, it's always interesting listening to a player as well, because then of course you get the opposite side of the view coming from a match official as well. And we have to be very careful because we are outing people and we're saying you're a cheat, and we're publicly doing that by showing a card. And there was one at Wembley yesterday where for me, as Bobby Madley have previously said on this show today, had a good game. He should have just waved away the Willian incident when he went down in the penalty area for me, because there was some contact and the player was moving at speed and it knocked Willian off balance for me. It was enough to put him off his stride and go to the floor. It wasn't a penalty. Good call, Bobby, not a penalty, but you should have just cut the air and said no penalty, get up and play on. To go back and show him a yellow card when there has been some contact, I think.
Well, it's got to be clear, hasn't it? If you're gonna call somebody a cheat, it's got to be clear. It's got to be crystal clear.
Yes.
Yeah. Talking of clear, Women's Euro 2017, England 0, Holland 3. No complaints whatsoever from England. Absolutely, thoroughly well beaten. But at 1-0, England were controversially denied a penalty for a trip, weren't they? On Ellen White. The referee was Stephanie Frappard of France, but
it was a penalty.
Right.
No debate about that one. That's you might as well have put a big neon sign above it and gone, that's a penalty.
Yeah.
That's as clear as they come.
Not as clear as they come are incidents involving video referees, VARs, so far this season. We've got a contrasting thing here. We're going to go to Holland in a minute to discuss a particular controversy. But in MLS in America, under Howard Webb, several applications. Guy Beal, I understand from him, it's been successfully implemented in the New York Derby and Portland Timbers against LA Galaxy.
Yeah, 2 incidents of it happening in the MLS and 2 incidents of it happening and working well.
Okay.
So well done to the MLS guys. Contrasting incidents. One was a penalty call and one was a goal disallowed for handball, but both ultimately correct. Okay. And that's what this system's been introduced for.
To get it right.
Don't care how we get there, but let's get the right decision.
Right. How about this one, Carlton? How would you have reacted to this? So we go to the Dutch Super Cup, in Holland. This is Feyenoord against Vitesse Arnhem. So there's a penalty shout. In fact, it's a clear penalty. Player gets tripped at one end. This is Vitesse Arnhem. Should have had a penalty. You've got a VAR, but nothing happens. Play goes on for what, a minute or so? And it ends up in the net, the other end. Feyenoord score, okay? At which point, that goal gets disallowed because suddenly, a minute or so later, they're going to review the penalty at the other end. The penalty gets awarded, right? So how do you feel if you're a Feyenoord manager?
No, but like I've said to you, there's too much coming in for me. Too much. I mean, there's too much coming in for me, and it's getting for me, it's getting more messier than clearer. The talking points on a Saturday tea time and a Sunday lunchtime in the pub is the fact that there are going to be mistakes.
Yeah.
But over the course of the season, trust me, whoever wins the league title deserves to win it. If you get relegated, you deserve to get relegated over 46 games. It evens itself out. And you can put all these measures in place, you are still going to end up with this kind of controversy. But this even becomes worse because if
they've scored at the other end.
Exactly. So now you've got a major problem. You've got a major problem.
If you're going to review, do it straight away.
It's got to be done. But I think that this is. You're not going to, even with all of these things coming in, right? I mean, I used to work, as you know, with the BBC, and the referees on the pitch, we've got the replays in the studio, and even looking at the replays and looking at the replays, still can't come to a conclusive answer. No. So you have to accept that is the way it's going to be sometimes.
I'm glad Carlton said this, and again, I'm not being wise after the end. It's got to be 10 years or more ago when we first talked about any kind of technology coming in, and goal line technology has come in and been a huge success. And it's at the time we were talking about first introducing goal line technology. I went, great, bring it in. My worry is exactly the point Carlton's made. Are we bringing in too much now?
Too much.
We're
starting to clinicize a game that thrives on controversy at tea time on a Saturday.
It's creating its own controversy.
It is, but it should be clearing controversy up. It's just creating a different branch of controversy now.
Indeed. Just finally, we've just got time. Youdan Trophy. A lot's been said about that over the past fortnight. You've been heavily involved in it. International Youth Tournament in Sheffield. Great success. Congratulations to Seattle Sounders again. Winners of the under-16. Sunderland winners of the under-14 competition, but also we must wish the very best to Sheffield United's young player Joe Green, who very sadly suffered a broken leg, double fracture in that Sheffield United.
It was one of those really unfortunate or fortunate ones, whichever way you look at it, that there was no malice. It wasn't as a result of a terrible challenge from an opponent. It was one of those things that unfortunately can happen in football sometimes.
Well, the best to him for his recovery. I believe 4 to 6 months, successful surgery so far. But the tournament as a whole?
Fabulous. Absolutely. It just gets not only bigger, but better every year as well. When you consider not just match officials coming in from all over the world and literally the other side of the world, but the teams too. We've got teams from Japan, Canada, America. We've got referees from New
I
Zealand.
was tripping over scouts.
Fabulous.
When I went.
Yes, the scouts everywhere.
I mean, I wasn't there this year, but last year you got some talent there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
kids are coming from good clubs and good schooling. You know.
I'd like to know what the feed is, some of them, Carlton. I was looking at some of the under 14 boys, they were 6'2" tall. Crikey,
It's
the
very
big
hard
lads.
to tell that they're not
I
adults.
thought they were the
isn't it?
coaches.
Yeah.
When they came past me, tracksuited up, I thought these lads are the coach. They said no, they're under 14.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do they feed them?
Yeah, what do they feed them? We'll have a diet of football controversy, but also praise. Hey, praise throughout the season where it's due on the Ref Show. My thanks again. It's great to see Carlton Palmer and you, Glenn, not forgetting you, and you in particular. Thanks for joining us. Do hope you can rejoin us for another Ref Show next week. We'll see you then.